A wave of cocaine may be about to hit the United States. We showed you the record cocoa growth in Colombia yesterday. That's the raw ingredient in cocaine. Cocaine production surged 37% in Colombia between 2015 and 2016. Much of it is ultimately bound for the United States. Manuel Bojorquez went inside an operations center tracking the drugs on the ocean. He is at a Coast Guard station in Miami Beach. Manuel, good morning.
Good morning. The U.S. stopped 4 metric tons of cocaine in the Eastern Pacific this past weekend alone. Now the task force that found those drugs is warning more are on the way.
It's got to be like watching an approaching storm.
It is. I talk about it as really an approaching tsunami of cocaine getting ready to hit the global market.
Coast Guard Admiral Christopher Tomney is the director of Joint Interagency Task Force South, the Western Hemisphere's nerve center for tracking drug traffickers. It's based in Key West, Florida, where tourists visiting the island's famed southernmost point seem largely unaware of what's happening daily on the other side of the fence.
Definitely a lot of stuff in the boat. Looks like he might be dumping some more stuff here. Yep, one.
From here, an alphabet soup of government agencies, military branches, and 17 different nations work together to find, track, and target drug traffickers where they're most vulnerable.
Out on the high seas, when they're hundreds of miles away from shore, these traffickers have no place to run, they have no place to hide, they're out in plain sight.
These are the paths that are taken for these drugs moving into the United States and other parts of the world.
Absolutely. As you see where the lines get really thick, if you were to break this out, you're really talking thousands of events that we monitored last year.
How much of that are you able to stop?
Very little. 3 out of every 4 events that we have awareness of, we have no asset to go after.
They're getting through.
They're getting through. We need more ships. We need more aircraft is the bottom line.
Ships like the Coast Guard cutter James, which we visited on its way to the Eastern Pacific.
Our last patrol, we were able to bring 16 tons of cocaine back. It was worth about $420 million. Wow. Nearly enough to pay for this ship. And that was just in about a 45-day period. Now we're going to go into the Combat Information Center.
Captain Mark Fedor commands the most sophisticated ship in the Coast Guard's fleet.
We have a lot of different sensors that can tell us what's going on around us. So we'll issue the orders to launch the helicopter, to launch the small boats, and then we vector them into those targets.
That's one of the rounds that we use right there.
Armed helicopters are key to the end game, flying low alongside go-fast boats, many times at night, to shoot out the engines.
You can see on this side here the entry point where a sniper round has gone in, and this has been very effective technique.
But the smugglers have developed techniques of their own, like Bigfoot.
Bigfoot is what we term a self-propelled semi-submersible.
These low-profile semi-submersibles are harder to spot and carry tons more cocaine.
Probably a week does not go by that we don't have a report somewhere throughout the region of these types of vessels on the water.
Last year, the task force set an all-time record, stopping 285 metric tons of cocaine, but it's only a fraction of the total flow.
It's very frustrating for the men and women of this task force, knowing we could be doing so much more, but it really comes down to a series of choices. How much do we want to make this a priority?
Ultimately, their goal is to dismantle the trafficking networks, which can move anything, not just drugs. But because of aging ships and aircraft, the task force may have even fewer resources next year. Norah?
Wow, great reporting, Manuel Bojorquez there. Thank you so much.